Hello there, one and all, and thank you very much for tuning in to episode 515 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise. But before we actually properly start with 515, I realized as soon as I clicked end stream at the end of 514, which we just did, that I didn't actually talk about the pre-sprayed blotter for the perfume we were talking about. So this is really going to mess with the heads of people who've specifically tuned into this video and not watching it live. But very quickly, for the benefit of those of you who are watching it live, the perfume we were talking about in episode 514 was the Roger and Gallet Cologne Twist by Karine Dubreuil-Sereni. Gavin, pre-spray blotter. A very nicely judged kind of musky, woody cashmeran note. The lemoniness obviously has faded away, and the herbal facet has gone. But it's actually more suave than you think it's going to be, and more sophisticated than you think it's going to be at the start. At the beginning, you think it's going to be all sort of light and juvenile and charming and insouciant, etc. And what's the word I'm looking for? Nonchalant. But actually, there's some weight to it. Anyway, I will also write up a few words about this when I eventually post episode 514 over on Persolaise.com. But let us move on to the matter at hand. First comment goes to Jeff, who says, nervous. Yes, so am I. Hello from a politically depressed Korea, by the way. Oh, I know. Rather unfortunate things happening there. Anyway, sending good wishes. It feels like we need to send good wishes to pretty much every single corner of the world at the moment. We kind of need a collective meditation session, but save that for another time. That's the topic of tomorrow's Substack, in a way. Tomorrow's Substack article is non-perfume. Rachel says, I'm so interested in what Mr. P is going to say. Ears open, biting nails. Maya says, hello, Mr. P and chat. Yes, an MFK review. Spaced Out says, I'm actually wearing Grand Soir today. Great for cold winter air. Dushan says, Absolue Pour Le Soir is his number one. Whose? Do you mean Captain Kirk's? Right. So, well, regardless of whether you're watching the live or you're watching the recording, please feel free to leave a comment, ask a question. I get round to them in due course. Please do consider subscribing to this channel if you haven't already done so. And if you click on the little bell, you should get notifications of new videos coming your way. And if you would like to find out how you can support my work, you should be able to see a link to my Ko-fi page in the video description below. And Sahika says, hello from politically decadent Turkey. What can I say? What can I say? Let's talk perfume for a little bit. So, back in 2010, Maison Francis Kurkdjian, which in those days was still a kind of fledgling brand. When did their first perfumes come out? 2008, 2009, something like that. They released, this was obviously the brand co-founded by Francis Kurkdjian himself, the man who remains one of the most successful perfumers of his generation, currently in-house perfumer at Dior, but also still the nose at his own brand, which is also owned by LVMH, which also owns Dior. Anyway, oh, Gavin says, I'm sitting on a comment until you have smelled this. Oh, wow, have you tried it already, Gavin? Oh. Anyway, so back in 2010, Captain Kirk gave us Absolue Pour Le Matin and Absolue Pour Le Soir. I confess, I don't remember Le Matin at all. I must have smelt it back in the day. And if I were to go hunting in some of my old vials and travel sprays, I expect I might find an old half-empty vial of Absolue Pour Le Matin, but I don't remember it, except that I seem to remember it was one of Francis Kurkdjian's take on sort of fresh day wear type scents. He's very good at doing those sorts of things. He's very good at making scents that are super approachable, super accessible, you know, wearable by, dare I say it, regular people rather than perfume geeks who, well, let's just leave it there, rather than perfume geeks. And he also gave us Absolue Pour Le Soir, which I do know very well and I adored. And I think it's one of the best things he ever made, if not maybe the best thing. And Absolue Pour Le Soir became something of a cult hit. I think, always a little bit too divisive, a little bit too bold to really become a huge commercial success. It had a striking civet honey note. It was like partly animalic, partly powdery. I mean, genius. I'd loved it from day one. And I remember back in the very, very, very early days of Persolaise.com, Francis Kurkdjian was one of the first perfumers I had an opportunity to meet, and that I was fortunate enough to meet, and I was just so excited to be able to tell him how much I liked Absolue Pour Le Soir. But I think that particular perfume's fortunes waned. It didn't do terribly well, and there were always these rumors about the fact that it was going to get discontinued, and then it didn't get discontinued, but it became harder to find, and you could only get it at MFK boutiques, etc., etc., etc. And then I think it did finally disappear. But now it is back. Now, I don't know whether Absolue Pour Le Matin disappeared as well. I believe it did. A part of me, or APOM, that Francis Kurkdjian did as well, there was an APOM for men and an APOM for women. That's come back as well as a single APOM. So I don't know whether this is what the thinking is, what the policy is behind these reissues, but they are both back. They are both with us. In the UK, they are at the moment exclusive to Selfridges, I believe. But if you go on the Francis Kurkdjian website, they're also available through there. And can you tell how nervous I'm about smelling this? Because I've been waffling on now for nearly 7 minutes. I think I need to smell them. I think we should start with Pour Le Matin, because that's the one that's going to be easier to, to sell to me, I suppose, because I've got next to no memory of that one at all. What are folks saying? Aperol Spritz says, very curious about the re-releases. I have both in the original formula. I think they are FK's masterpieces. He'll probably never come up with anything of this caliber. Gosh, praise indeed. Edge of my seat, says Maya. Gavin says, lol, any psychoanalysts noticing the delay? Anyway, so Absolue Pour Le Matin. I should show off the bottles as well, because they're in the standard Captain Kirk bottles. There we are. Well, I don't know why I'm nervous about this one. I suppose I'm nervous about this one because once I spray this one, that means the only one left to spray is Pour Le Soir. Anyway, here we go. Okay, we have pre-sprayed blotters of these as well. We definitely need to do pre-sprayed blotters of these because Absolue Pour Le Soir was all about the dry down. This heavenly, heavenly, snuggly dry down. Anyway. Okay, I'm not going to comment on whether it's like the original or not, because as I'm smelling it, there are no bells ringing. I'm not particularly remembering anything. I suppose it's like a kind of nouveau cologne with an aldehydic bent. Like, it's coming across at the moment like a kind of extra citrusy number 5. Strong shades of number 5 Eau Première, which, as far as I'm concerned, is praise. I adore Chanel number 5 Eau Première. Nicely done, actually. This is not. I wonder, anybody out there, the way I'm describing it, does that sound like the original to you? Please let us know. Aperol Spritz says the original Pour Le Matin has a distinct herbal note. I mean, maybe that'll come through. Let's see what. Lift that up carefully. Let's see what the brand themselves say about it. Pour Le Matin, what do they say? The morning stretches out, the sun's powerful rays stream through louvered shutters. Absolue Pour Le Matin Eau de Parfum is an aromatic zenith that magnifies floral freshness. And so their notes are thyme, okay. Maybe a bit of herbal dry, but it's all quite abstractly done. Jeff says, how does it compare to Captain K's own Cologne Blanche for Dior? Different, I think. Quite different. What have we got? Thyme. Do I have to click on these things? Okay, thyme. A powdery woody accord. Yes, I would definitely agree with that. An accord created by FK that blends dry woody notes with delicately powdery notes. This accord brings a lot of depth and trail to the eau de parfum. Then we've got lemon. Oh, and what do they say? The lemon tree was introduced to the Mediterranean basin during the Crusades in the Middle Ages, etc., etc. So lemon. What else? This is annoying on this side. Violet. Okay, despite its readily identifiable and popular perfume, the violet is a mute flower, as it is impossible to extract its perfume naturally. Only the leaves and stems can be used for extraction. I am getting all of this, but it's all done in a very, very elegant, abstract way. And what's the O supposed to be? Orange blossom, one of his favorite materials. There are several ways to process the citrus aurantium flower, it says, by volatile solvent extraction to obtain the orange blossom absolute, or by steam distillation, etc., etc., etc. And that is it. So come on, folks, people who know the original well, how does this compare? Let's get, where do I put this? Let's get the pre-sprayed Absolue Pour Le Matin. Where is this? Here we go. Okay, that kind of thing that I was describing as the sort of number 5 Eau Première feel has gone. The powderiness has gone. It's woodier. And I guess violety orange blossom, very, very, very attractive and absolutely something you would want to wear during the day. And I guess the fact that it's an absolute means that it's meant to last, right? So it isn't just going to be a cologne that fades after a while. It's got hints of that cologne, that bright, fresh cologne sensibility, but in an EDP, in a so-called Absolue that is meant to last. I do like it. I see. I would have said something lavendery rather than thyme, but nicely done. Aperol Spritz says original Pour Le Matin also is very long-lasting, despite being a cologne. Okay, so that's that one. Let's put the pre-sprayed one aside. I'm really, really nervous about this. Now, I kid you not, when I did the pre-sprayed blotter for Absolue Pour Le Soir, I actually held my breath so that I wouldn't get a single waft of the scent, and I put it away, and it's been close to me now. It's about, I don't know, it's about 2 feet away now, only for the last few minutes, and I'm kind of desperately trying not to over smell it. Okay. Now, what I shouldn't expect is for it to be identical, because I guess they were never going to do that. Here we go. New packaging, Absolue Pour Le Soir. Now, what I should also tell you, this is really mean to do this, isn't it? Is this really, really mean? Is that I have dug out my original bottle. We're going to have to do a comparison, aren't we? Don't worry, I have a backup of the original as well. We're going to have to do a comparison, aren't we? Although, you know, we also need to be aware that that stuff in there has been aging now for something like 14 years, because that is from the original batch, that bottle. I can't remember the last time I was this nervous about spraying a perfume. Okay, drum roll, says Aperol Spritz. Here we go. Please be good. Right, I'm keeping the blotter away from myself. Let's clear the nose. I will close my eyes for this one. Okay, I'm so pleased. I'm so pleased and I'm so relieved. Yes, it's there. The honey, that powderiness, that strange kind of nutmeg, clove, potpourri, you know, cloves in orange skin, spiciness. Oh, I'm so relieved. I'm so relieved. I'm so glad that they've done this, because maybe now's the right time for it. You know, maybe a whole load of TikTok watching folks are going to embrace this one. Maya says there's hope for those of us without the original. And Trina says Mr. Peace Smile says it all. I feel like I'm welling up almost. It's got that kind of sweet beeswax feel, because I loved the kind of beeswaxy feel of in the base of the original. And it's still purring, it's still growling. Now, what I'm wondering about is the original had a really, really tremendous sillage. And so, as I say, a few hours ago, I did the pre-spray blotter, and then I brought it into this room and walked out because I had things to do in other bits of the house. And when I came back into the room, I wondered if I would suddenly get a hit of Absolue Pour Le Soir, and I didn't. And so that made me think, oh gosh, is the sillage not as powerful as well? But then this room is quite cold. But I deliberately keep this room fairly cold because this is where most of the perfume bottles live. Gavin, comment from Gavin. My main thought on smelling it was that the original was pre the oud revolution, and that may have changed everyone's perspective on it. Very, very good point. And yes, you're right. There were obviously a few brands that had already done some ouds in 2010, but oud was not yet a thing. I think it didn't become a thing until 2012ish, 2013. So basically, is what you're saying, Gavin, that you kind of agree with me that maybe now the time is right for this scent. Let's see what the brand says about it. I'm pretty sure that I actually managed to include Absolue Pour Le Soir in my book. I'm curious. Let me see what I said about it. I wonder if it would still apply. This was written quite some time ago. Let's see. I don't normally do this, as you know. Yes, it is in here. I thought it was in here. And I think, did I get Captain Kirk's autograph as well? Let's see. He actually contributed a little bit to the book as well. Oh, that was a wrong page reference then, wasn't it? There are so many mistakes in this book. Right, so where would I have included it? I probably would have included it as, there we are, Absolue Pour Le Soir. Smelling the first few moments of APLS is not unlike discovering an ignominious family secret. You're not quite sure where to look as a flush of embarrassment covers your cheeks and ears. The rapscallion responsible for eliciting this reaction is civet, used here in a quantity sufficient to compromise the moral fibre of anyone within smelling distance. Perhaps there's less in this version. We will compare. Thankfully, various other materials are allowed to join the party, including cedar, cumin, cloves, musks, and honey notes, but the focus is on lasciviousness until the small hours of the dry down. It's no wonder Kurkdjian hasn't released a perfume called Absolue Pour La Nuit. He's probably frightened of being arrested for olfactory lewdness. It is very, very strange reading something that you know you have written, and yet you have no memory of having written any of those words at all. If somebody had asked me what my review of the perfume was, I absolutely would not have remembered. But I stand by that. I stand by this. Book reading time with Pop of Peace, says Jeff. Yes, absolutely. I stand by those words. So, pre-sprayed Absolue Pour Le Soir. Maybe it's gentler. Maybe that's what he's done. Maybe he's just toned down the animalic quality a little bit. And does that then mean that it's also a little bit sweeter? But it is 100% recognizable. And absolutely, if this is what we've got to have, I am ecstatic. I'm really, really happy that it's back. Aperol Spritz says, I cannot wear Pour Le Soir out because it smells like someone living on the street. I know lots of people used to say that. I didn't think that at all. Oh, I'm so glad that I can now wear it with abandon and not have to worry too much. Okay, but this is the real moment of truth. Shall we do the original? Let us do the original. And this is not scientific, because this is a fresh batch. It's not necessarily a like by like comparison, but we're going to do it anyway. Right, here we go. Can you smell the wee and honey note, says Gavin? Yes, but I think my memory tells me that it used to be more prominent. Anyway, here we go. Oh, the sprayer seems to have gone a bit dodgy. Never mind. Let's put the grand. Let's put the parent in there. yeah, I think this is just a touch more wicked, and maybe a touch more animalic. But seriously, 100%. They are the same scent, but just sort of maybe tweaked, I guess. Yeah, maybe the thing is, smelling side by side as well like this is not the best idea, because you smell the one thing and then your nose becomes blind to certain aspects, and then they seem to stand out in the second thing you're smelling. Oh, I'm so pleased. I am so pleased. If anybody from Captain Kirk's team is watching, please thank him for this, because a true modern classic is back. What I will do is, as you know, eventually, when time allows, I get round to doing a sort of blog post of these videos, and I quite often post a few extra thoughts on some of the smells, some of the perfumes that I've featured in the video. What I will do is compare dry downs as well. I will do a sort of dry down comparison of the original with the current, and I will also wear it. And I'm very, very happy to be able to wear it. So there is a little piece of good news today, after all. And I'm also really taken with the Pour Le Matin. Where's the pre-sprayed Pour Le Matin? Because that's, yeah. I mean, completely different sort of scent. I mean, it's a sort of polar opposite. This is safe, approachable. It's not purring, growling at all. This is the kind of, look, it's all right. You can come back home with me. And then Absolue Pour Le Soir pounces on it. Okay, brilliant. Right. Thank you very much. We will take a 2-minute break and come back with a showcase of a relatively new UK-based brand. See you in a bit. Thanks for watching. Bye.